Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Colleen. I write sci-fi and fantasy stories. Today I will be challenging myself. I will be writing one scene in 1 hour. I will be writing a scene from my work in progress. I haven't shared the title yet, but I call it Hardwired Hearts and Synthetic Skins. It's a working title, so it's not the final title for it. But yes, so I will be challenging myself. I will write one scene in an hour, no editing, no stopping, just writing for a whole hour. I'm writing a scene where Ro is being helped by a young woman. It's after a violent scene where Ro is attacked by a teenager. It's like the hatred towards androids sort of violence. So it's right after that scene, Ro is being helped by the bully's sister. I actually wrote this scene before. I'm rewriting it. I know what's going to happen, but I basically kind of changed most of it. There are a few parts that are still the same, but I just added more details and added more interiority. But it's basically the same, or not the same. It's that scene. It's basically the themes and the problems addressed are kind of the same, but the scene kind of is a bit more focused now. Before I added another character, the young girl that Ro meets, but I removed that part and focused it on the woman and Ro instead. I was hoping to add the woman into the like there's kind of like a heist scene. I feel like I want to add the woman there instead of creating new characters, since it would make it much more, do you call it, cohesive, and it makes much more sense to have someone that Ro already knows become part of their team instead of creating new characters for them to bond with. I tried not to edit while I was writing and to just write without stopping, but I had to go over like the scene as I went through it, because sometimes I forget what I'm writing about, especially if it's a new scene where I'm seeing where it goes, or I don't know how the characters are reacting yet. But I had to reread it a few times while I was writing, just to make sure that the progress and the beats, I guess, are right where it is, and that it's being touched on. Also, like, just spelling mistakes, I I had to fix those, because for some reason my grammar checker is not catching spelling errors sometimes. So yeah, that's why I have to do it as I see it, just so it doesn't get lost. I forgot to do like check-ins while I was writing during that 1 hour, but I had a few breaks. I didn't shoot like the whole 1 hour at once. I took a few breaks just to like pause the camera and then set it up again, just so I don't have a lot of memory on my card and on my computer, so I had to like pause. But I did write. I don't have a word count goal for this one. I'm just writing as much as I can within the 1 hour. I'm not done with the scene yet. I I'm at the part where I don't know where it's gonna go at the moment. I know I want to end with the woman, Kieran, and Ro, like talking a bit more, I guess, intimately, you could say. I want them to get a feel of what the other is like, so that it kind of sets up the scene, the heist scene, whatever you call it, better. I want to maybe have this woman Kieran interact with the other Rose family, you could say. So with Cora and Minette, just so it sets up the future scenes with her better. Since this scene is more or less new, I still not satisfied with how it turned out. Obviously, I still need to go over it a few times to get the pacing right, get the interiority and the balance of interiority and description right. Right now, I think I wrote about 500 words. I think I have about 10 minutes left. I wrote 500 words. I didn't really time it right. I forgot to set up a timer when I started writing. I'm just checking the clock to see how much time has passed, so I can't really say if I still have 10 minutes left, but that's kind of what I have left in terms of the shooting the remaining minutes. I check and yeah, it said I'm about 45 minutes worth of video, so I'm guessing I I haven't reached an hour yet, but yeah, I'm at 500 words. I am stuck, so I paused the timer. I don't know how to go about the next interaction, not the interaction, but like the conversation with Kieran and Ro. The scene is kind of more of a slice of life kind of vibe. It's the pacing is much slower than what I've written previously. So it's I want to either add something to make the pacing go faster, or like push the plot forward. But right now it's kind of more like a slice of life. It's just establishing some information, some scenes, but it's not moving the plot right now. I might add some like hint or like drop an information that ties in with the overarching plot, but I don't know how to set it up to make it more like not just a coincidence, but something that actually could happen because of the choices that the characters are making. So for now, like there's a on Nikos's storyline, he is being investigated for doing under the table research that the board did not approve. So he's under investigation, and want I want to make it, because there was a whistleblower. So that's why they're investigating Nikos. I want it to be someone that is important to the whole story, not just, someone convenient to do something to move the plot. So I'm thinking of putting Kieran as that, not the whistleblower herself, but like someone who knows about what's going on and is kind of spreading, not spreading rumors, but like they're talking about it, and she knows what's going on about Nikos, and she could kind of give like a an information to Ro that would push Ro into being more active in terms of getting what it wants, which is to be human. So that's it for my 1 hour, one scene challenge. I was able to write about 500 words. Um, I wasn't able to write a lot afterwards when I was at the 50-minute mark. I got stuck and I didn't know how to proceed. There's the scene that I was working on is not moving the plot forward as of now. I want to add something like a detail that would kind of connect the scene to the overarching plot. But from what I wrote during the challenge, I only kind of wrote like an introduction scene for Kieran. And then I didn't know how to go about dropping the information that would connect it to the story. Um, but I was able to write, it's not a lot, but a lot more than I would usually be able to do, especially for a new scene. Um, the current uh, version of my story right now is at chapter 9. I actually rewrote I during my July update. I think I was working on chapter 4 or something back then. But I actually rewrote the whole I rewrote whatever I had. Um, I felt that the pacing was a bit too fast. On my previous version, there was so many things happening in one chapter, that could have been divided into multiple chapters, which is what I did. In this version, right now I am on chapter 9, which is the scene that I was working on. That was chapter 9, and I have to go back and fill out my Save the Cat beat sheet. I filled it out before, but I lost it. I thought I saved it somewhere, and then I reset the file, and it wasn't actually saved anywhere else. So it's gone. But I did save a few. Like I think the first 10 to 12 chapters I have the outline for, but the rest I don't. So I want to go back and kind of go over those scenes just so I know how to plan out the other chapters and the scenes that will lead up to the ending. Um, I actually don't know how the story will end. I had an idea before when I first started. I had like a really solid idea on how I wanted to end, but it kind of felt a bit too hopeless. Um, I'd kind of I mean, it's not bad to for it to be hopeless, but um, I think I just want it to end a different way now that I know more about the characters. Um, but yeah, so I am at chapter 9. The scene that I was working on was the beginning of chapter 9. Um, so I have a few more, maybe one or two more scenes. I think one more scene before I end chapter 9. and then I have to go back to my beat sheet and see how chapter 10 and the others will go. I When I rewrote what I had, I thought it was good, but when when I read it, it was actually like it was going too fast, and I think there were some dialogues that were a bit too telling, and like it was just stating the obvious. It didn't flow as well as I thought it was going. But now I'm much happier with how it's progressing. um I I want to try to do more of these challenges just so I can, you know, just force myself to get the story out. I still always fall into the trap of um, editing while writing. Um, I think sometimes I get like bursts of creative energy, and that's when I just write anything that's in my mind. But sometimes I have to like think about it. It was worse when I was younger. I thought about like every small detail, and it was coming to a point where I wasn't writing the story and just making um like notes about these small details that I have to know when I write the story. But yeah, it's much I like the story, the version of the story now much better, and I need to write more. I don't write a lot. Like I'm not a fast writer, so it takes me a while to write. Currently, the version that I have right now is at I think 17,000 words. Um, it's much better now, actually. I still need more interiority. I still forget to write that part. Um, I'm always like whenever I write, I always write the visual part of the story. I forget that, when you're writing prose, you have the chance to talk about or to show the characters' thoughts and opinions, and that you don't have to rely on visual cues to tell the story, unlike in a script where the actor adds the the how would you say it, like they have their version of the character, and without putting in like the thoughts and like the reason why they're doing something, the actors can decide themselves how to portray the character. But in prose, you you're the one making these characters real. So like the thoughts, those things, they have to be there. Otherwise it's just watching people move around, and you forget to like, obviously there are times where you can just use the visual part of the story to kind of hint at what's happening. But you don't have to rely on just that. You can put a character's thoughts, especially if you're doing I think it's called omniscient. I keep forgetting what it's called. Omniscient, POV, third person omniscient. That's I think that's when a narrator knows everyone's thoughts. I forget. But yeah, the POV where the narrator basically knows everyone's thoughts, you have the chance to kind of build the characters that way. Um, I did choose limited third person just so I want to like to create that mystery, or like, you're not sure what the other character is going to do. You just know how they look and just create an interpretation based on that. But yeah, I enjoyed doing today's video. I wrote more than I thought I would be able to. If you also did a 1 hour, one scene challenge, let me know what, um, I guess, challenges you face while doing it. If you stopped a few times like I did. And I guess how many words you were able to write. I don't really count my words sometimes. I just do it to track progress. I don't often do it anyway. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you did, and I will see you next time.